The Power of Habit, Book Summary 3 by Jen Taylor. The third section of The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg explores how social movements are built upon habits within social groups and successful communities. The focus is on the changing of old habits by using powerful influences to create new routines. The habit of society. Social habits are why some initiatives become world-changing movements while others fail to ignite. There is a three-part process at the root of many movements. A movement starts because of the social habits of friendship and the strong ties between close acquaintances. The movement grows because of the habits of a community and the weak ties that hold neighborhoods and clans together. The movement endures because the leader gives participants new habits that create a fresh sense of identity and a feeling of ownership. Social habits are the behaviors that occur among groups of people that are not always seen but have the potential to change the world. When all three parts of the process are fulfilled, a movement becomes self-propelling and reaches a critical mass. The power of weak ties represents the links that connect people who have common acquaintances and share social network membership, but aren't directly connected by the strong ties of friendship themselves. Weak tie acquaintances are often more important than strong friendships because weak ties give us access to social networks where we don't otherwise belong. Our deepest relationships tend to be with people who appear like us, act like us, and come from similar backgrounds. The habits of peer pressure often spread through weak ties and gain their authority through shared expectations. The habits of peer pressure are the social habits that encourage people to conform to a group's expectations. Movements rely on social patterns that begin as the habit of friendship, grow through the habits of communities, and are sustained by new habits that change the individual's sense of self. Widespread social change begins when strong friendships merge with weak ties of peer pressure. Movements don't emerge because everyone decides all at once to move in the same direction. The surest way to make an idea grow outside of a community is to give people new habits that encourage them to be independent. Are we responsible for our habits? Yes. If you believe you can change, then you can make it a habit and the change becomes real. This is the real power of habit, the insight that your habit is what you choose it to be. Once that choice occurs and becomes automatic, it starts to seem fated. If you have an awareness of your habits, then you are responsible for their consequences. Once you understand that habits can change, then you have the freedom and responsibility to remake them. Duhigg has a four-part framework. Parts 1 through 3 identify the cue, routine, and reward, and Part 4 is the intervention used to change the habit. Part 1. Isolate the cue. Research has revealed 5 main cues, including location, time, emotional state, other people, or preceding action. Next, identify the routine, or specific behavior that occurs repeatedly. Experiment with rewards. What is the actual craving? Test different hypotheses to determine or isolate which craving is driving the routine. Rewards are powerful because they satisfy cravings. Sometimes we are not aware of what the real cravings that drive our behavior. It is recommended to test 4 or 5 rewards and then write down the first 3 things that come to mind. Have a plan. Once you've figured out your habit loop and you have identified the reward driving your behavior, the cue triggering it, and the routine itself, then you can begin to shift the behavior. The reason why it is hard to identify the cues that trigger our habit is because there is too much information overwhelming us as our behaviors unfold. You can change to a better routine by planning for the cue and choosing a behavior that delivers the reward you are craving. A habit is a formula our brain automatically follows. When I see the cue, I will do the routine in order to get to the reward.